Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome. I'm so deeply grateful that you're here. I'm Karin Hagberg, known as the Awake Wellness Warrioress, and today I want to have a real conversation with you. Not that one that glosses over the hard stuff, not the one that pretends everything is always light and flowy, but one that honors the truth of what so many of us are walking through right now. And that truth is spiritual awakening, and it's beautiful. And spiritual awakening is brutal. It's both. It cracks you open. I ask you to look at everything you've built your identity on. And it invites you to let it go. You know, it's not about becoming someone new. It's actually about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. But here's the part that people don't often talk about. You know, spiritual awakening doesn't just happen once. It's not like a single lightning bolt where everything shifts and then you ride off in a blissful enlightenment. Because what happens is it actually happens in layers. It happens in spirals. It happens in waves. And one moment you feel really connected, you feel really aligned, you feel really whole. And then the next, boom, and another layer peels back. Another wound rises and another part of your story gets rewritten again. And if you, anything like me, maybe you found yourself thinking, I thought I already healed this. Did I already learn this lesson? Didn't I already learn this? Why am I being cracked open again? You know, I get it. I've been there more than once. So many times, in fact, I actually lost count. You know, the truth is, every time you rise, every time you grow, and every time you step into more, the more authentic version of yourself, you kind of shed. You kind of outgrow and you unravel. And, you know, that process is not always graceful. In fact, most of the time, it's really messy and it's really emotional and it's really, really freaking raw. You know, you might cry for days and you might feel like you're really disconnected from everyone and everything. You might feel like your old life, you know, the old relationships, habits, work, it doesn't fit anymore. And yet the new version of you hasn't quite arrived yet. You know, it's the space in between. It's like a sacred void. It's the cocoon. It's the place where the caterpillar dissolves before it becomes that beautiful butterfly. And in that void, it's so easy to feel lost. It's so easy to doubt, and it's so easy to wonder, you know, am I going backwards? But, you know, you're not, because you're actually deepening and you're shedding layers of illusion. You're awakening, not just once, but again and again. And sometimes awakening shows up as peace too. You know, stillness, clarity. Other times it comes as complete chaos, you know, conflict, fatigue. You know, you feel grief, you're ill. And all of it is valid. All of it is part of that path. You know, you see, the soul doesn't care about how things look on the outside. You know, the soul really just cares about the truth. The soul cares about alignment It cares about your fullest expression. And sometimes the only way to get there is to dismantle the things that are no longer real. And that can freaking hurt. You know, I remember a time when I thought I'd finally stepped into my highest version. You know, things were flowing and I felt deeply aligned. My energy was really high, and then almost overnight, something really, really shifted. Suddenly I was questioning everything again, and you know, that doubt crept in and the old emotions surfaced, and my body responded with so much pain, with so much fatigue. And I remember thinking, why now? Haven't I already done this work? But now I understand. It wasn't actually regression. It was refinement. It was another layer asking to be held. It was another truth wanting to be embodied, not just understood. So if you are in a season like that, if life feels really heavy, confusing, uncertain, please hear this. You know, you're not broken. You're not behind. You are being called inward. And it's not punishment. It's actually, you know, it's like purification. It's the woman you're becoming. It's the soul-led. It's the empowered, embodied version of you. And that's not found in the comfort zone. She's got to go through fire, you know, through that deep inner work, through the willingness to sit in the unknown and still trust the process. So what do we do when we're deep in it? When the tears just won't stop? When the people around us just don't understand? What do we do when nothing feels the same anymore? You know, what we do is we come back to the body, you know, the root. We ground. We move slowly. We create space to feel, you know, without judgment, without forced clarity, and without trying to freaking fix anything. Sometimes, you know, the most powerful thing you can do is to just be with what is. And we come back to our breath, back to nature, back to rituals. You know, we light the candle, we take a bath, you know, we journal, we walk bare feet, we cry under the moonlight, under the sun, and we stop trying to rush the rebirth, and instead we honor just the shedding. We also reach out, because even though awakening often requires solitude, it doesn't need to require isolation. So find your people, find the ones who can hold space for your process without trying to save or fix you. And if you need that kind of community, please come and join me and many others in the Awaken Wellness Warriors group. It's a space to be seen. It's the space to be real, to be held, and where we trust, you know, we surrender. Even when it's really uncomfortable. Even when we don't, you know, we don't know what's next. Because, you know, trust is a soul frequency. It's a language of your higher self. And your higher self already knows what you came here to do. This path is not for the faint-hearted, but it's for the ones who are ready to live in truth. You know, to rise, to fall, and to rise again and again. To live from the inside out. And I promise you, you know, the version of you that's on the other side of this season. She's a lot stronger. You know, she's a lot wiser and softer and clearer. And she knows she is. Because, you know, she walks with grace and she speaks with clarity and she embodies peace even when life is chaotic. So, you know, don't give up on her. She's already within you. She's born through every tear, every letting go, every brave breath you can take when nothing makes sense. And, you know, if you're looking for support on that journey, something gentle, loving, empowering, I'd love for you to download, you know, my free ebook. It's called Manifest Wellness, the Warrioress Way. And it's, you know, it's filled with my wisdom, my tools and reminders to guide you home to your truth. You find all that in the description below. And, you know, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, because I'm sharing more of these, you know, honest, soulful conversations every week. Not just, you know, polished version of, you know, healing, but the really messy and the magnificent journey of becoming who you truly are. So thank you for being here, and thank you for showing up. It means a lot to me. And thank you for saying yes to your soul. I see you. I honor your path, and I'm right here with you, and I send you so much love. I'm Karin, the Awake Wellness Warrioress, and until next time, stay soft and stay strong and stay true to you.